In today's episode, you're going to get to see a whole bunch of beautiful exotic cars. Hello everybody, welcome to Classic Car ChitChat. My name is Kevin. If this is the first time you're coming to my channel, then welcome. I really appreciate you being here today. If you've been to my channel before, then as always, thank you for coming back. Thank you so much for the comments that you leave for me, for the thumbs up, for you subscribing, as well as hitting that notification bell so you know when the next episode is available. Today you're going to meet a gentleman by the name of Mike. Mike is the kindest, most humblest person I've met, and he's also a fellow engineer, so good for you. I met Mike at a Malta car show a couple of weeks ago, and you saw the video of that. I spoke to him only for 5 minutes, but he was kind enough to invite me to his home to see his car collection. I was taken away with what I saw, and you will see today 10 of his cars. They're his little babies, and they're part of his collection, plus a motorcycle. And he's actually got room for one more car. So Mike, I'm not sure what you're thinking, but we're all interested in knowing what you're going to get. He was also kind enough to allow me to film all of his cars over the coming weeks and months. So please stay tuned to the channel and you'll see more of his cars up close and personal. I do have a question for you, and I'd like you to leave your answer in the comments section of today's video. Of the cars you see today and the motorcycle, if you had to select one that was your favorite, which one would it be? I'll be honest, I can't even answer that question, but give it a shot. Anyway, without further ado, let's hop in, let's go for a drive, and let's check out these beautiful exotic cars. This is some garage. Tell me about it. What do you have here?
Okay, well, it's a 2,500 square foot garage with 21-foot ceilings, a little bit of a mezzanine for storage, but built primarily for my babies. What we have here is we have a 1970 Hemi Cuda 4-speed. Over there is my 68 Mustang Pro Stock drag car, which was the 2014 Ontario Pro Stock Championship winner.
You see these fins there, Mike?
Yes.
That does something to me right there. That is amazing. Wow. Okay.
You'll notice the plates, there's a common theme, Wild 68.
Wild.
We got a Wild Cuda.
Are you a little bit wild too, Mike?
Yeah,
is that where we're going with this?
My first personalized plates was for a 1988 Jeep YJ. It was Wild 88.
There you go.
Over here we have what we call the Twin Sisters, 2 Murciélagos. The yellow one is a 2004 6-speed manual Murciélago. And then the most recent acquisition that I was fortunate enough to have the opportunity to purchase is the 2003 40th anniversary.
Wow.
This is number 10 of 50 that were produced. They only came in this color, which was called a green jade. Most cameras bring it up as a baby blue, but in person...
You can't even figure out the color, like to the eye, it looks
Yeah.
amazing. I look in the camera, it's like it's not doing it justice.
Yeah, cameras don't do it justice. It comes baby blue. And very special car. It had the added carbon fiber trim on the outside and a bunch of other little goodies on it.
So quick question, Mike. Of the two, which is your favorite?
Well,
Of the two
I
Italian
have mixed
girls.
feelings. So my first introduction to a Murciélago, where I saw it for the first time, was in downtown Lamborghini, and it was a yellow one spinning on the turntable.
Right.
And it is my favorite color. I'm not sure if your camera can do it, but there's a depth to that yellow.
Gorgeous.
And Murciélagos are my favorite of all Lamborghinis, but this one, which is the newest, is the holy grail of the Murciélago. So if push came to shove, I would have to say it's my 40th anniversary. Is my favorite.
And back here, we've got a couple more that are hiding away. Thank
Yes.
God for lifts.
This is a, in a future video, we'll show more detail. That's a 2017 Dodge Viper. 2017 was the last year. In that year, they made a few special editions. That one was called the Snakeskin. Only 25 were made, and that's number 25 of 25. Again, a manual 6-speed with the 8-liter engine.
It's amazing. Why is all this furniture here, by the way, Mike?
This is what happens when you have a big garage. My brother's doing some renovations at the home.
So we moved all this junk in here.
Yeah. I have 3 younger brothers, and
Yes.
Moonlight is some storage
Yeah,
facility
so
here.
Mike's a little bit upset, guys, if you're watching this, all right?
It'll be gone by the next video. Below here is a very interesting vehicle. This is the last of the C7s. It's a 2019 Corvette ZR1. It's the last front engine. As you know, the C8s are mid-engine, and it's the last manual. So this is a 7-speed manual ZR1 2019, last manual, last front engine, and a 1-year only ZR1. And I'm not sure on the stats, but apparently out of these ZR1s, only 20% were manuals. So pretty unique
You are
rare
a
car.
stick shift kind of guy.
I am a stick
You
shift
gotta
kind of guy.
feel it, right?
With the exception of the one car.
Okay.
So let's start up top here.
Yep.
That's a 2008 Ferrari F430. This is the last mid-engine model that was offered in manual. This is a manual 6-speed. Again, making it quite rare. And that's what kind of drew me to this vehicle.
You know what, I've never got a real chance to see underneath it, but look how clean they've designed that too.
Very clean. You know, a lot of the cars have the clean underneath. You would see the same thing on the Viper. I think when you get into cars that are 200 miles an hour plus, you need these kinds of aerodynamics just to keep it safe, stable at those speeds.
Right on.
At those speeds.
Incredible. Oh, she's gorgeous though. Very different yellow to the Lambo yellow.
Yes, yes. The Lambo has more of a depth, more of a pearl, whereas this is more of a flatter yellow.
And what is this thing?
This is the Dodge Demon. The Dodge Demon was purpose-built quarter-mile car, but production by Dodge. There were 300 delivered to Canada, 3,000 to the US, all numbered. It was 840 horsepower, and it sits in the Guinness Book of World Records as the only production car to lift the front tires off a launch in production trim.
840 horsepower.
840 horsepower, correct.
Straight out of the factory.
Right.
Nothing added on.
No,
Sure?
as it sits on regular fuel, it's 808 horsepower. When you put the ECU and race fuel in, after the $1 purchase of the Demon box, it's 840 horsepower. It is an automatic, but it's my only vehicle where I can have my 3 young children and wife in the car with me. So needed
Amazing.
when I want to take the family out.
This is your family car then.
This is the family car.
Designed this sort of Dodge minivan.
This car is a, since we've had it, it's always had a car seat
Right.
that has now been promoted to a booster seat because my youngest is getting bigger. But yes, this is our family sports car.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. And way nicer than a Dodge minivan. No offense to Dodge or minivans. And what's this box you mentioned?
The box is what they call it, the Demon box or the Demon crate. I think crate may be the, it is a $1 option. In order to get it, you have to sign a bunch of forms and waivers. I think I signed more than purchasing a home.
I kind of like this too.
Yeah, we got the Demon beside the Demon. So this is the Demon crate, and this is all the necessary things that are required to race at a track and make the Demon do the 9-second quarter mile times that it can do. And it's customized Demon parts. They're all snap-on tools, but you got your front skinny tires. You got the ECU that will work with the race fuel. And then there's all different types of tools that would be needed to make these changes, change the tires, etc. All the goodies are here. I've never used it. Everything's still wrapped up in the box.
And you're saying that this whole assembly would actually lift out and it's custom made to fit in this?
Exactly. This all sits in this foam assembly. The bottom of it is molded to fit inside your trunk. So all of this can be taken, put in the trunk, close the door, go to the track. The other thing you'll see about the Demon is the front tires and the back tires are the exact same size.
Okay.
The reason being is when you go to the track with the skinny tires that you have in the back, you have 2 sets of rear tires. So as you are racing and you wear out one set,
Yes.
you have the other set.
Wow.
Right. That's the purpose. So you actually go to the track with your 2 skinnies, and the 4 tires that are on it are your 2 sets of rear tires.
So Mike, going back to your cars and your collection, where did this passion come from? Like, was it always something as a kid? You sort of said, you know, you just fell in love with cars and it's just kind of evolved from there? Like, what's the story behind that?
It's been an obsession since I was a child. I've always loved vehicles. I got my first vehicle at 15, 76 Triumph Spitfire, and I've always obsessed. And I have
nothing wrong with British cars. Okay? I mean, they might leak a little bit of oil now and
yes,
then, but it's
I
okay.
have, and I'm a true car person. I love older cars from every decade, Japanese, European, American. I've always loved vehicles. And you know, as soon as I acquire a vehicle, then you're always dreaming about the 2, 3 other cars. So I've always had multiple cars in my collection. What happened here is we were able to build a house with a larger garage. So for every car footprint I have, we end up picking up another vehicle. But yeah, an obsession. Car videos, car posters, die-cast toy cars, everything that's cars. Movies on cars, all the TV shows where they're fixing up cars. I like numbers matching cars, hot rods. I mean, anything automobile is my passion.
If it's got 4 wheels and it's a car, you love it.
I do.
And when it comes to, let's say, your favorite car movie, what would you say that is?
Oh, that's an interesting one. I would say the movie that had the biggest impact on me is probably Cannonball Run.
Okay.
You know, because of the Lamborghini that was in it and the diversity of cars. And then Smokey and the Bandit was another one because it made the car this indestructible force. You know, they probably destroyed about 14 on the movie,
Right.
but in the movie itself, you know, I would have been 7, 8 years old when that movie came out. You know, it just kind of, you became a superhero when you were in the right car.
Exactly.
And it kind of had a big
It's just a
impact on me.
crazy movie.
Yes.
It's one of those that are, kind of everybody looks at it and says, yeah, that's the car movie, right? I
Yeah.
mean, there's Back to the Future, no, not Back to
Yeah.
the Future rather, but Fast and Furious, what are
Yeah.
we up to now?
Yeah,
12, 13?
I have no idea, but you know, those are all great movies.
Yeah.
But you know, you asked me what impacted me, and at 7, 8 years old, you know, and younger, those were the movies that
Amazing.
I guess
So-
helped get me addicted.
So is there one car you don't have that you would love to have?
Oh, there's always a laundry list of cars.
Okay, what's the next one if you could? Assuming you have a little bit of space for one, right?
I like the 69 or 70 Mustang Bosses, the 429 cars.
In silver?
I don't think they were made in silver in those years. It would be in white or black. 73 Trans Am Super Duty, a 4-speed, a manual car like that. Oh my God, I could keep going. The Porsche Carrera GT, you know, arguably the last supercar that was manual, is a beautiful car. Plymouth Superbird, you know, the big winged cars.
Really?
Very
so
beautiful.
even like a class, like what year would that have been?
Well, that's a 1970 Superbird. And then if you want to get to the older cars that I would really like to get is the 49 Cadillac Sedette. So it's a 2-door coupe. That's a fastback. It's a Cadillac,
I don't
a
think I've
49.
ever seen one.
Beautiful car.
Oh, wow, okay.
Beautiful car. One day.
One day,
One day we'll
absolutely.
get there.
One day. Wow.
So lots of cars. Oh my God, I can't believe I forgot about the Brits. Jaguar,
Okay.
the XJS, the 67, whether it's a first generation or the second, in the coupe.
Right.
The convertibles are nice,
not
but I
the-
really
not
like
the
the
E-Type?
lines of a coupe.
The E-Type Jag?
The E-Type.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
XKE.
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 Yes,
XKE.
Yeah.
Beautiful,
absolutely.
beautiful vehicle.
Yeah. What about Aston Martin?
Aston Martins, yes. The older Aston Martins.
DB5.
Yeah,
The James Bond
DB5s, the
kinda,
James
yeah.
Bonds,
Yeah.
the silver ones. Really, really, truly love those cars. Even from a Ferrari point of view, I would say the 308, because again, I'm always nostalgic. My introduction to what a Ferrari is was Magnum.
Magnum PI.
Magnum
308
PI.
GTI. What was it?
It was a 308, and then as the years went on, it became a 328.
Okay.
So the car did change as the episodes and the
I remember that
years
show.
went on.
Yeah, I grew up in the same era.
Right.
And it's like, it was absolutely
Right.
amazing. Yeah.
Right. So I mean, if you a little on the spot, the more I could think, I could come up with a list of 20, 30 cars out there that just amaze me.
But this is amazing, Mike. I mean, this is
Thank you.
literally a dream car garage, and you've got a couple more as well.
Yes, in the downstairs garage.
Shall we pop over and just take a look at those?
I think that's a good idea.
Let's do that. All right.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Okay.
pause it. Okay, Mike. So we got 2 more cars here. What do you have?
Well, what we have here, 2 very special cars to me. The first one is a 2005 red and white stripes, Ford GT. Very special car, only made for the 2 years, 05 and 06. It was to pay homage to the GT40s of the 60s. If you saw the movie Ford versus Ferrari, those were the vehicles. So most of its cues are taken from that car, obviously with a supercharged Ford modern engine and all the modern comforts. It's a manual vehicle. It's a gorgeous car, don't get me wrong. The lines I love, but what makes this special to me is the interior. It is my favorite interior of all cars, all automotive.
So unique. I even love the way the door opens like that.
Yeah, again, the door takes cues and pays homage to the 60s. Unfortunately, not very practical in real life. In a parking spot with a car beside you, you probably got this much, and you have to do the limbo to get out, or bang your head and end up with a headache. But definitely a talking point and a nice styling cue.
Well, it's a good thing you're very flexible, Mike. At least you can sort of limber your way out of this. So this is all stock, though. Like
all
it
stock.
Comes with the white stripe. It comes with the glass. In the
Everything.
Back. This is the way it comes out.
This was considered a 4-option car. So there was 4 options available, and this has all 4 options. It's a U.S. car, that's why it has the 4 options. In Canada, there was only, if it was a Canadian ordered car, it would only have 3 options. It wouldn't have the speaker between the...
I see that. It's a big-ass speaker.
Yeah, between the 2 seats.
Look at that.
But yeah, this is completely untouched. 2,500 miles, original miles.
Amazing.
Beautiful, just a work of art.
Absolutely
I love it.
gorgeous.
And you know, this is my downstairs garage with the glass wall. So these are the 2 cars that I can look at when I'm entertaining with friends, playing pool.
Yeah.
So
it's a little bit of art, isn't it? When
yes.
you think about it.
To me, cars are. They're things of beauty.
I always dreamed that, I always wanted a motorcycle. My wife would never let me have it, right? But I thought, if I had a motorcycle, I'd bring it in the house because they're so gorgeous to look at. It'd be such a nice thing to have it in the corner, just sitting there. But you can actually do that with the glass walls.
Absolutely. The goal was I wanted to have it literally in the house, but based on building code, because it's considered a garage, even though I've tried to make the ceiling and where the doors roll up as much as home as possible, it needs to be sealed for CO2 emissions and that sort of thing.
Right.
So we went with the glass.
And that's amazing. So while you're entertaining, you can sit back, you can look at the cars. Oh, fabulous. And this black beauty, Mike?
This is a very special car to me. This was my dream car throughout high school. This is called the Ferrari 512 TR, where the TR pays homage to the Testarossas of the 80s. This is kind of the evolution of the Testarossa. This is the last mid-engine V12 model that Ferrari made. Iconic car on posters. And for me, what's special about it, it is my favorite rear end of all cars, past, present, and probably future. I just love it. I love looking at it. This is the Miami Vice car. That's something else it's famous for. Those were white cars, but actually they were all delivered black. Just the director at night didn't like the way it looked on film.
Right?
Yeah, and they had them all painted white in Miami for the show. Canadian car, rare combination. Ferraris are mostly red. This is the black with the crema, not the tan interior. 5,300 original kilometers. I'm the second owner. I brought this thing out of British Columbia. Very special car for me.
The interior is something else, Mike. I have this thing about cream interiors or cream-colored interiors, and this is just immaculate. Oh my Lord. the detail on this car, even the side mirrors, everything, like, wonderful. And then this. So another wild one. There we go.
So,
The
you know,
V-Rod.
I made it clear, you know, we talked about earlier that, you know, I was a car person. So why is there a motorcycle here? Well, this is actually a great story, but a little bit about the bike. This is a 2002 Harley Davidson V-Rod, the first year of the V-Rod. Harley Davidson teamed up with Porsche to create basically a fast Harley Davidson and a liquid cooled. Prior to this, all Harley Davidsons were air cooled. And this is the vehicle that they came up with, inspired from their drag bike, and again, with the engineers at Porsche. What happened is, we talked about in the other garage, my favorite of all Lamborghinis, the Murciélago. My brother and I, in 2002, decided to go to downtown Toronto Lamborghini to see the new Lamborghini. And of course, it was the yellow Lamborghini on the turntable, which what makes my yellow one, of course, sort of special to me. It was the first time that I saw the Murciélago. And they also, Lamborghini Toronto owned Lamborghini Harley Davidson. They were connected with a little hallway between them. I walked into Lamborghini Toronto. This exact bike, the same bike was sitting there. And I looked at it and I went 3 times very loudly, "What the F is this?" Because to me, it was a Harley and a sports bike kind of mashed together. Yeah. The salesman heard me by the second call out. And the next thing you know, I was signing papers. I had no motorcycles license, no formal training on a motorcycle. I sat with the salesman. I wanted to, upgrade. I had the rims chrome dipped and certain parts upgrade. We figured out how long that would take. And that coincided. He told me how long it would take to get my license. So they went off and did some customization to it. And I went off and got my license. And this has been my first and last bike. And love it, love looking at it. Oh, but beautiful. It was a direct result by going to look at cars.
Yes. And you fell in love, didn't you?
I fell in love.
The snakeskin seat as well. It's just amazing.
The stock seat was black. I went down to Bike Week, I think in 2003 in Daytona Beach. Right. And I had that done. I had the hand grips done there. So over the years, we've done a little customization. What really appeals to me about this bike is I wanted it to look like it was a billet piece of aluminum or metal that was kind of carved out to a bike. So that and the front rake always appealed to me.
It does. It's kind of something you might see in a movie almost, the way it kind of just forms itself out of one piece of metal. And the rims, I mean, the wheels, like, so this, again, you've had this chrome dip, so the original was different.
It was aluminum. It was just, it just wasn't as shiny, very similar. In pictures, you may have not known the difference, but yeah, I had them chromed.
Beautiful. And then, Mike, I got to ask you, way over in that little corner there's another spot.
Well, that was recently inhabited. It's recently vacated. Yes. It was a 2005 Mustang Celine with a Pro Charger supercharger, who I sold to a dear friend of mine, Andrew Cree. And it sits vacant and hopefully to be full soon with a vehicle. Okay. It's just, when that opportunity comes and it's the right vehicle and it kind of pulls at my heartstrings, we'll make that purchase. But no rush. Part of the hobby is no rushing, just coming into a car that you fall in love with.
So we talked about this a little bit earlier, and that was, you just don't go out and buy a car for the sake of it, but you're actually looking at the elements and the detail, what sort of makes that car unique or interesting. And it's also an investment, because you're not just buying any vehicle, you're buying select items. So what do you look for when you're looking at cars?
That's a great question. The car hobby is about passion, and everyone has different triggers. If it's speed and performance, you probably don't want to go to the manual cars, which I have an affinity to. But for me in particular, number one is styling and beauty. It has to capture my heart. I really, really enjoy manual cars. I like the manual cars, and I like cars with a story. you know, whether it was the last mid-engine V12 or the last manual, or they pay homage to an iconic car from the 60s. There's different talking points and different attributes about a car that get me. And I never limit myself to a particular brand or make or a continent. You know, I listen to the story. I'm a collector as well. So cues that are in rarity or very unique to a vehicle also appeal to me. But again, that may be what my passion is, but someone else's collection may be based on other passions, but it's equally as impressive.
But that's a really good point, because one would assume that, okay, let's say you're a Ford guy, so everything you own would be a Ford. But you're not. You have some Italian cars here. You've owned British cars in the past.
Yes.
And definitely the Ford here. But it's like, it's any vehicle, but it's got to appeal to you. And that's what makes it really exciting.
Absolutely. You know, muscle cars, Japanese cars. Again, you know, part of the hobby is you have a car for so long. You know, I think Jay Leno quoted that, you know, we're just caretakers of cars as they move on, because they're obviously going to last longer than us. And, you know, there's always a move. So, you know, I've had many cars and, you know, have sold and bought new ones. So, and even across cars from the 50s, from the 60s. And yeah, there's always something. You can't limit yourself. There's just so much there, and it's limitless. And, you know, a car guy's never finished collecting, right? You just got to know within your budget and how much physical space and how much stress your family will take of your hobby.
Absolutely.
You got to find, everyone has to find their right balance. I have 4 sons, so there's 5 of us to enjoy the vehicles.
Sure. And I love the way you kind of built your house around your collection. So you had to have enough space for your cars and everything else. Now, do you kind of wish you had a spot for 2 more cars? Or?
It's interesting that you said that. I'm going to make a small correction. I built the house with more space than I had in my collection at the time, 6 years ago. What happens is when you create the space, now you buy that car that you wouldn't have bought because you didn't have the space. Yes. So sometimes that's a slippery slope.
Yes, like this little spot sitting right over there.
Yeah, that spot's recent, and that. So, and it's true. Like, you know, I'm always browsing and looking at auctions. Always, I just enjoy everything about the hobby. But now, when you know you have a spot, it's a little bit of a different thought process. Well, maybe, you know, I'm just going to look and admire that, but, you know, would that fit in my collection? Would that be cool? Well, you know, and then you're asking more questions. So again, slippery slope, very hard for a car guy not to fill all his spots.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So Mike, I can't help but notice, you have an engineering ring on, the iron ring.
Yes.
So what's your background? You obviously studied as an engineer.
Yes.
So where did you go to school?
So I went to school, University of Waterloo, for mechanical engineering. And obviously mechanical engineering, because my dream was to work for an automotive manufacturer. Yeah. I'm not sure if it would have been in design or mechanics or what it was. And of course, you know, life takes a different path and different opportunities come up. And, you know, I got into the supply chain and distribution, and right around Y2K, not to date myself, I was still a younger engineer. I moved over to the IT world, and I've kind of made a career in the IT world in the supply chain point of view. Always, you know, interested in vehicles. In the drag car program, I would tinker around with some tuning. You know, I'm by no means am I a mechanic. I had great friends who were good at that. So that's kind of what my path was. So although it didn't end up in the automotive industry, I probably wouldn't have got those jobs without my mechanical engineering degree. Sure. So again, vehicles did guide my career path indirectly. Absolutely. You know, at a younger age, everything was driven by cars.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And it's great to see you're going to keep the passion alive. And I'm thrilled and humbled, truthfully, the fact that you've allowed me to come into your home to see your car collection, and also, as we go through one car at a time, allow me to get up close and personal to each car and hopefully be a passenger in some of them, so you can actually take it for a drive. I
look forward to it. Each car, and you will be a passenger, because I love driving them.
Thank
Every
you.
single one is driven.
All right. Mike, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. And in future videos, everybody, you're going to get to see a lot more of Mike's cars.
Thank you.
As you saw in today's video, Mike has an incredible collection of absolutely gorgeous dream cars. Please do stay tuned for future episodes where you get to see each and every one of his cars up close and personal.